Hello everyone, I'm Laura McIntosh and this is Bringing It Home. Now we are the best in fresh. We find the hottest chefs, we travel to the best locations, and we will dazzle you with mouth-watering recipes and bring it all home to you.
That's bigger than my head.
Have an oyster. Here's to California. Don't scare me.
Well, hello everyone, and thanks for joining me. We're bringing it to you nice and fresh in beautiful Napa, California. Today we've got a great show, and the recipes you are going to drool over, literally. We're talking heirloom tomatoes today, all different sizes, shapes, and colors. And boy, do I have a chef for you. I've been waiting to get Michael Chiarello on the show for so long, and he's here, and he's gonna cook some wonderful recipes for us today. That and a whole lot more. You are not gonna wanna miss it. Lexus is proud to support Bringing It Home's message of sustainability and freshness. We encourage you to know the people behind your food and to enjoy your pursuit of perfection. In-season freshness is the key ingredient to making every meal taste the best. So here's a look at what's fresh around the country. No matter where you live in the country, whether it's the East, the West, the South, or Middle America, here are my top 3 picks for what's fresh in each of those areas during all 4 seasons. Here's what's fresh during the summer in the East: berries, peppers, and zucchini. If you're in the West, here's what to look for: nectarines, watermelon, and garlic. Here's a tip for you Southerners: check out tomatoes, squash, and peaches. If you're melting in the Midwest, cool down with beets, blackberries, and blueberries. So now you know, creating easy and delicious meals is a snap. The key ingredient is to keep it fresh. Americans eat more than 22 pounds of tomatoes per person per year. Let's get busy and start cooking. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. We are ready to cook it up, and I'm so excited to introduce you to Michael Chiarello, who I'm sure you know. Hi, Michael.
How are you, sweetheart?
Good, how are you?
I'm great.
Now, I have to share something with you. My favorite tomatoes. I love them. When I was pregnant with my second daughter, I'd walk out into my dad's garden, salt shaker, and I'd eat them. And you are going to cook them for us today.
It's all about the tomato. Italian food's all about that. Like now, when we're talking about tomatoes,
yes,
it is all about knowing how to celebrate the tomato.
Right.
And how to do the simplest things you can. Present foods that everybody understands in a way that they couldn't imagine.
See, and what's fun about cooking with you is you're Italian, I'm Italian, and we won't let anything go to waste. We're going to use it all. The whole
shooting match. You're going to eat the stems of the tomato.
You know, I probably will. I love them so much. I do. All right, tell us really quickly the recipes that you're going to share with us today.
Okay, we're gonna do an heirloom tomato with gray salt, basil oil, and burrata.
I love burrata.
Burrata is like mozzarella on steroids.
Oh, it's, you know what?
Unbelievable.
My great-grandmother used to eat the ricotta on the toast every morning.
Oh,
so to me, it tastes a little bit like ricotta, too.
Well, there's some ricotta on the inside. You see this little ball right here?
Yeah.
So it's mozzarella. So when you're making the mozzarella, you take some cream, some of the curds, and some ricotta, and you tuck it inside right before you close it up.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes bad in like 3 days. So you got to buy it and eat it immediately. And we made a little caviar but this isn't your normal caviar.
Yeah,
this is balsamic caviar. Vinegar in a dish like this: tomatoes, mozzarella,
yes,
basil oil, vinegar. If you put the vinegar over the top, it blows the tomatoes out. The only thing you taste is the vinegar.
Right.
I wanted the vinegar to come in afterwards, so we take a little gelatin, we take a little squeeze bottle like this, and we drip it in, about 1 million of them an hour, into some cold olive oil. And that's what you get when they're done.
Okay, so to be honest, for us at home,
you could just take some grocery store balsamic vinegar and reduce it down to a syrup.
Yes.
And really intensify it and just give a few drops of that balsamic syrup.
And that really only takes how many minutes on this to reduce it down? It just takes
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
All right.
Even you could do that.
I could do it. We can do it. All right.
All right.
So you want to start the first one?
We can. So we'll start with some of these tomatoes. Now you look at.
I just love these tomatoes.
Is this unbelievable?
Yeah.
Can you smell this?
Yeah.
Now here's the deal at home, folks. Don't ever refrigerate a tomato.
Ever.
Because the smell is as good as the taste is. So if you refrigerate them, all the smell goes away. And if you buy organic tomatoes like we do, right, you don't have to wash them.
Right.
I never wash a tomato. If you don't spray anything on them,
you don't have to.
I don't. So I don't wash them too much. Oh, look at that. Talk about tomatoes.
Talk about timing. How about that? This is John. John, come on in. Good morning. We were just starting with little tomatoes. These are tomatoes on steroids. Look at that.
Wow. Aren't these nice? Heirloom tomatoes from the farm.
What do we have here?
Cherokee purple.
A purple Cherokee.
Purple.
You know, and reds.
Lemony.
Lemony. What's that, guy? It's like bright red.
Brandy wine.
Brandy wine. That's one of my favorite. It's very, very good.
Favorites of all time.
Now you see, look at all these. These aren't unripe tomatoes. These are tomatoes. Actually, the tomato pomodoro is a golden apple in Italian. That's how you say tomato. So that's the color originally of a tomato, right?
Right, yeah.
And we've kind of bred them, but look at all of these. And look inside there, look at that. Look how meaty those are.
Are you proud of that when you see that? That's pretty awesome.
It doesn't overwater, which is really, really important. Yeah, see how great those are? They back off the water, you get this really intense flavor.
You put a little salt on that and it'll just ooze with its juices.
Even you're going to be able to do this one.
He's giving me, I love it. And we're gonna go to the farm.
Yes.
We're gonna check out how you grow them. So we're really excited to not only cook with them, but show you exactly where they come from.
I will see you soon.
Yeah, we'll be there. All right, you got it.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. Thanks for the delivery.
Now we're taking tomatoes like this. I don't do those little French slices.
Oh, good.
No offense, my French chef friends.
This is caveman cut at its best, and I like it.
We like them thick.
Right.
We like them thick. We like them bold. Now, if you could take a few of these little cherries and pull some of the stems off there for me.
Do you know why I think this is so funny? You are cutting that tomato exactly the way my grandmother did.
Is that right?
Yes.
Does your grandmother do that too?
Yes, she did.
What's that little move? What's that little move?
We're just giving back.
Now, what you don't want to do is cut your tomatoes and refrigerate them.
Right.
Right? You don't want to do that. Before your guests come, about half an hour, you can cut your tomatoes. You don't want to season them too soon. And then I take a little bit of gray salt.
And so the idea here is that have everything ready and prepared to go, because, you know, if we do what Michael says, a half hour before your guests come, you're not going to want to find everything. You want to have everything ready to go.
Everything ready to go. That's what we do in the restaurant business, is we have everything ready to go. Okay. So we're going to set these up kind of organically.
I love how, look at the different sizes in that red one.
Oh, unbelievable.
And so the salt is really just bringing out all those juices. Look at that.
Exactly. Is that incredible or what?
Yeah.
And we could take a few of the small guys and drop them around, just like that. Fresh ground black pepper.
All right.
Now the burrata. Here, try a little of that.
Oh God, I want to eat the whole thing. Oh, that flavor.
Is that great?
Love it. I can't talk because it's so good. I love burrata.
Now a little bit of balsamic caviar. See this? And this is going to go right on top.
This is really rock star status to make this at home, I think.
Oh, blow your mind. But you know, there's lots of cooks that love to do things like this. You want to do the basil oil?
So what am I doing? Across?
Mom, look, she's cooking. It's unbelievable.
My mother
keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Not on the rim. What do you?
Well, I don't want to.
Come on, your grandmother.
I want to be my nonni.
There you go.
How's that? Did I do good? All right.
There's our first dish.
Doesn't it look delicious? We've got more, right, Michael? How many more?
Lots more. 2 more recipes. Can you stand it?
I can. With you every day and twice on Sunday.
Did you know that fresh market tomatoes are grown in all 50 states? Let's talk today with our farmer, John Gibson, to learn more about delicious heirloom tomatoes.
Growing heirloom tomatoes is certainly different than growing a traditional tomato. How many plants do you have on your ranch here?
We have close to 55,000 vines. There are 600 different types.
Wow. And how many do you have?
About 115.
Tell us what's so different about them other than what we see.
In terms of the heirloom compared to the hybrids, the heirlooms are picked ripe. They're picked for taste.
Yes.
That's the main difference.
So you plant these starting when?
We'll come through April.
When you're able to start harvesting is right around
mid-July. I mean, somewhere in that range. Prime harvest is only for about 2 to 3 months.
So all of that work really, and you only have that small window.
Yeah, exactly. We like to pick them when they're ready to eat. Their shelf life is not going to be 6 weeks, you know?
Right.
It's going to be maybe 6 to 10 days.
So you really have to know if you're looking at them and picking them when they're at their complete ripeness.
Right.
you have to know what that means. These are still green. These are not
Right.
ready to be picked. But this one now has color.
Some types are ripe when they're green. There's some types that are ripe when they're white.
You almost have to have a degree to do this.
Exactly. It's all about the touch, though.
All right, so last question. The #1 heirloom tomato that folks ask for.
Cherokee purple, lemony. I mean, they're, you know.
That's really popular
Yeah.
too. All right, so we have all these tomatoes. They are only here for a short window. You have them in California, but they've been asked for as far as New York. So that says a lot about how they taste.
Yeah.
Okay, John, thanks for having us out
Of
here.
course.
This is fascinating to me. I love this.
Yes,
But I
thank
love
you.
to cook with
Thank
them
you very much.
even more. We're gonna go and do a quick, easy recipe.
Oh, sounds good.
Thanks, John.
Okay.
All right, everyone, we're back and we're already heating up the kitchen. And you've already got it started.
This is super simple. It's called Papa al Pomodoro. Now, tomato season is longer than you think and it's shorter than you think. It's great for only about 3 weeks. It's good for 3, right? And then it's okay for about 5 or 6 on the back.
Right.
So when it's fresh tomato season, like I took some of his reds and some of the Cherokees, and we
Yes.
turned something called concassé. We just dipped them in some boiling water, like here,
Right.
for about 30 seconds. Put them in some ice water, took the skins off them, chopped them up a little bit, and that's what we
And
get.
that's it.
for-
And I
for
want everybody
concassé.
to notice the seeds are in there. And
I don't care that much. I take some of the seeds out, but
not, okay.
but not. And now I have some canned tomato, so I'm gonna mix them. So what I have here to make this is called Papa al Pomodoro. It's a tomato and bread soup. I have some garlic that's light brown.
I love that smell.
Garlic that's light brown, right? Now you want to pour the tomato in, both
This
of them.
one?
Yeah.
All of it?
Yeah, all of it, the whole
Okay.
thing. And then all the fresh tomatoes.
How much olive oil did we put in for with the garlic?
3 tablespoons.
Okay, and you're just sautéing it?
Just
But be
saute it until they
careful
get
not
light.
to burn it.
Not burn it, but you know what? Your Nona probably said to you, don't brown the garlic, it's gonna get bitter.
Yes.
But in Gilroy, these boys are smart.
Ah.
Now the garlic kind of gets mellow, but a little bitter at the same time. So let's go to Davis there or Cal Poly and have them breathe some of the bitterness out. So what used to be true 50 years ago is no longer true. You can get garlic light brown and it does not get bitter.
Really?
And you can use more of it and it doesn't have that don't kiss me effect later.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? Give me a little gray salt in there.
Only gray,
A little
right?
gray salt. Never trust a white salt or a round pizza.
People ask me, you know, this is chunks of salt.
Yes.
And you're adding
it's
it in
gonna
this?
melt. Now what you do want to do,
You
that's
knew
a
what
good
the
point,
question was.
is you want to wait for it to melt. I've done that before. I've seasoned a sauce.
Right.
Right? And then I've tasted it and needed more salt. I put more in, then it was blown out with salt.
Yes.
You're right. You want it to melt a little bit.
Melt and then add. And taste
Okay.
as you go. Taste as
So
you
that's going to cook for about 30 minutes.
All right.
And then I give it a blend with like a stick blender. And,
like an
and it turns
emulsifier.
out, right,
That's it.
exactly. And it turns this color. Now the olive oil, I add a little more olive oil at the end, and the olive oil turns the tomato orange. We say it turns over a little bit.
go. Extra virgin?
Extra virgin.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Now, there's some green spice in there. What is
Basil,
it?
which is right here. You're going to add 3 or 4 leaves right there. You want to bruise it a little bit.
And you know what? I love the fact that you're saying that because some of the chefs, you have to have a very sharp knife. You don't want to bruise it. You don't want to, you're throwing it all in there.
Okay, so that's going to cook out for 30 minutes, and then it turns into that. Now what we're going to do is add some bread. Now what you don't do for a dish like this is a dish for leftover bread.
I was
This is
gonna
a
say,
dish
tell me you're using
for leftover
bigger
sauce. So this is, feel this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
It'd be a
so
bummer if
it's
it
going to be a bummer, right?
Yeah.
Right, so all you do is you add the bread in.
Look at how beautiful that
Right,
bread
you just
is.
add the bread.
Yep.
Now you just let it sit. And it's gonna soak up that tomato.
Yeah, I mean, look at
And then after about 10 minutes, you're gonna turn the papa, which is the bread's gonna mix into the soup, and that's the papa of the pomodoro, and it's really beautiful. And you can make it thick, you can make it thin. If it gets too thick, you can add a little bit of water.
Okay.
Or a little more olive oil, or you can add some stock if you like, vegetable stock, chicken
right.
stock, and it's fantastic.
But now, can I eat this hot or cold?
Either one. Now, a tradition of mine is to serve things in funky ways.
Okay, let's try
Right?
that.
So we take this tomato and bread soup.
So this
and look
is
at-
gone. You don't need this.
I'm going to need it for the gnocchi.
Okay.
But look at this. So I took this vintage French canning jar, and we served the soup right in here. I took some rosemary from the set, a little pecorino grated over the top, a little olio buono, some good olive oil, and a few of the tomatoes. So some fresh tomatoes, some cooked tomatoes. You have texture, temperature, and if you bring this to the table like this, and the experience, and you set it down, that's the experience. That's
Yes.
some of the flavors, some of your
Absolutely.
creativity.
Right.
Taking something as simple as tomato and bread soup. This is the lowliest of the lowest
Peasant food, they used to
peasant
say.
food.
Yeah.
Serve it in a swanky way. And if you don't finish it,
You can put in I would close it up.
Close it up, put it right in the fridge. You
That's
have nothing
right.
to wash, right?
Absolutely. And we've got 2 recipes down. We've got 1 more to cook. It's gnocchi.
Gnocchi.
I have some questions about that.
no, my way.
All right, his way.
Want to know what it takes to grow tomatoes? Well, I've got just the guy to tell us how.
All right, well, here we are, everyone. This is, I keep teasing Jim, this is the back 40, huh, Jim? But this is actually where the tomatoes are ripe and ready to be harvested. And Jim, the size that you are pulling out of these fields, I can't get over. They are enormous.
Yeah, that has really a lot to do with the genetics of the tomato itself. And some varieties are smaller, but most of the varieties we grow tend to be larger sizing. It's 2 pounds, 2 pounds worth of love and tender care.
There you go. Now, the one question I have, though, is they are ready for harvest, but I see some green ones on here. How do you know when to pick them?
Well, generally, as soon as the tomato starts to get a little color on the flower end, it's generally ready to pick.
Okay.
And you can, the longer it hangs on the vine, although it'll develop more color, it probably is not going to develop a whole lot more flavor. So we also want to pick them at a stage where they have some shelf life.
Right.
So that when they go to our packing shed and get packed and they go in a box and they go wherever, then it has, when you, the consumer, gets it, it's still a good tomato.
It's still a great tomato. I like mine nice and firm. Perfect size for a burger. What is your favorite tomato?
I really like marble stripe. I have a little, and I also like beefsteaks. So between the two, they're both 50-50.
50-50. Yeah. Now I'm jealous. You have to teach me how to plant a tomato plant at home. I know everybody's dying to grow one, and you're the man to ask. What kind of soil do I use? What's my watering? Do I string up the tomato? What do I do?
Well, I think the soil preparation is probably the best. So you want to have a really good soil because tomatoes are heavy feeders.
Okay.
They like a lot of nitrogen, especially when they're growing. Okay. And they are very particular about watering. So you can't water it one day and then come back in a week and water it again.
Okay.
They require a very constant moisture in order to produce good tomatoes. Okay. And if you don't water it consistently, you'll end up the flowers will fall off, the fruit will be deformed, and it'll show up all the way through the health of the plant.
So that might be one cause for the bloom to fall, is that it's not getting enough water.
Very definitely.
Okay.
You call it bloom drop, blossom drop.
Blossom drop. Nutrients is big. It's very important.
Yeah, when they're growing, they're like kids, and as they mature and they start flowering and forming fruit, you like to have a lot of calcium.
Okay.
They like calcium. And then when the fruit is finally getting mature to this stage or a little bit before, you want to make sure they have enough potassium.
Okay.
Because that forms a nice firm fruit and helps with cell wall and structure, so they stay strong.
Okay.
You don't want to, otherwise the tomato can just get mushy really fast.
Right, and you don't want that.
Well, yeah.
It's in a terracotta pot. Do I need to put a pole so it has something to grow?
It depends on the variety. Poles are really good in tying them up because if it's an indeterminate variety, you definitely have to have a stake or some way to tie it up.
Okay, real quick, an indeterminate variety is?
There's two varieties, determinate and indeterminate.
Okay.
The indeterminate ones are actually flowering and growing and producing all at the same time.
Okay.
So they continue to produce fruit over a long period of time.
All right.
And they continue to grow and get tall. The determinate ones have a very concentrated flower set, and the fruit set comes all within 10 days, 2 weeks, and then the maturity comes at the same time, and then you're done.
You're done. They're determined.
Yeah, they're determined to make their
big splash.
Make their big splash, and then they're done. Yeah.
Well, I know really everyone loves growing a tomato plant, but there is certainly a science behind it. Thank you, Jim. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Now that we know how to grow a tomato, let's jump back in the kitchen for more fantastic tomato recipes.
Okay, everyone, we're back with Michael Chiarello. We haven't stopped cooking.
The next recipe is all about something that you can do with your kids, and that's making gnocchi. It's one of the first dishes that my mom and my Nonna taught me to make. I can remember sitting at a board like this, and my mom grabbing my thumb with the gnocchi paddle, and teach me what to do. I had a chance to make my own gnocchi. It was such a big deal. Now, whether I liked them or not didn't matter. I was going to eat them because they were mine.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I made some ricotta gnocchi. Now, these I froze because you can.
Yes.
These are ricotta, a little bit of flour, and we use some sheep milk ricotta.
Little marshmallows.
Yeah, and then we take lots of rice flour on the outside. Yeah. So what do I have? I have ricotta or ricotta, depending on where you're from. I have a little bit of flour, right? And that's it, some Parmigiano.
Yeah.
So I have some boiling salted water, more salt than you think. You should actually be able to taste the salt in the water, right? And so these were frozen. I just took them off. I froze them on a cookie sheet.
Yeah.
Then took them off and have about 15 per
Did you use gray salt in the?
Yes, I use gray salt in everything.
Just checking. I knew he did.
You know what I say to people? They say, "Oh yeah, but it's so expensive. It's like 4 times more than the white salt and blah blah blah."
Yeah, so justify that.
You know, I was thinking, how many mochachinos did you have this week? Well, I had about 4, and I had a double macchiato, and I had one of those frappe things that they do. I said, just back off one of those a week, and make all of your food taste 10% better.
10% better, and it'll be healthier for you.
Exactly.
How about that?
You know, this dish that I'm about to show you how to finish, I just changed it where I took a little bit of this sauce, I take some of these, and I put them in a 500-degree oven.
Right. Roast them.
And just roast them until the skins pop.
Yeah.
And then you have that combination of cooked and fresh, building layers of flavor, what we always talk about. The reason some of the commercial cooking that you have at these chain restaurants don't taste good is they jam the flavors all together.
Right.
We try to spread them out a little bit.
Right.
Give
Open it up.
room.
Open up your palate.
Let the flavors accordion.
Ooh.
That makes sense?
Well, it's Italian.
Now look inside there. See, now they're floating.
Okay, so in pasta in my house, you throw it up against the wall. If it sticks, it's done.
With a gnocchi, you'd have a splat.
It'd be a problem. So how am I gonna make sure that they're finished?
I would say a minute after the gnocchi have float to the top, a minute after. You do it before, they're gonna be too chewy.
Right.
You go too late, they're gonna be too soft.
So total time, give her
3 minutes.
That's it.
Right? 3 minutes. Okay. Now you see how they're all floating like that? It's like, and you drain them.
Here's the thing I was just thinking about, Michael, too, is the sauce that you made. I mean, you roasted the garlic, you added the tomatoes,
Real simple.
5 minutes,
5
really?
minutes. We spent way too much time thinking about it. See, back in the day, they used to have to do these 3-hour sauces because the tomatoes were so tart, and they would add sugar to them. You don't need sugar in your tomato sauce anymore. We know that.
Right.
Because the tomatoes are sweeter, right? So they don't take that long at all. So what I do is I take a little extra virgin olive oil.
Right.
And not too much sauce. This is really about the gnocchi. We tend to over sauce.
Wow.
The right amount of sauce is the amount of sauce it takes to coat the pasta. Now to finish this off, I use a little pecorino.
Okay.
It's a sheep's milk cheese. It's a little sharper. I mean, you could buy some old 24-month-old Reggiano. It can get a little pricey.
Yeah.
But here's my thing on that for you guys at home. Don't look at your price per ounce on your cheese. Look at your cost per taste.
Okay.
I could use a tenth of the cheese at $6 a pound.
Right.
Right, of what it would take for a $2 a pound cheese.
Okay,
So if you look at a flavor per teaspoon basis, you're using less, you're getting a lot more flavor and a lot less calories.
this is the old saying, less is more. This is what you're saying.
Look, it's a little bit of pecorino. This gets about a teaspoon on top. Because it's aged and beautiful, right, it's gonna just taste delicious. Now, gnocchi della nonna.
So I think we should start this tradition. Every year we're gonna do tomatoes and we're gonna come up with a new recipe that folks can do at home. It's easy.
You don't scare me.
The challenge is on.
I'm game. You want to try some of this stuff?
We're gonna try some of this. And remember, it's all on the website, bringithome.com. Well, thanks everyone for joining us back. Have you had fun with Michael Chiarello? I know I have. Thank you for sharing these with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
You made them simple and easy. Get out there and make them.
It is easy, but we're missing something. I brought you some wine, girl.
Of course
That's
you
right.
did. Until next week, everyone, you know what to do. Keep it nice and fresh. Salute, Michael.
So do you.
All right.
I'm hungry. Grab that fork, girl. Isn't that
Me too.
delicious?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it melts in your mouth.
Like angel pillows. Caviar on top. Look at that.
That tastes like my grandmother's. I love that.
That's bringing it home.
Hi guys, Laura here. I'm answering another online question. This one about balsamic caviar. We've used it on the show. You want to know what it is? I'm going to show you. We're going to make pomegranate caviar, and it's simple and easy to do. We're going to take 1 quart of chilled olive oil. Then I'm going to take one of these great plastic squeeze bottles, and I'm going to mix in it 4 teaspoons of plain gelatin powder with 3 tablespoons of cold water, and this is to soften the gel. Then I'm going to take pomegranate juice and I'm going to heat it up over the stovetop. Once it's heated, I'm going to pour it back in the plastic squeeze bottle. Then I'm going to take the olive oil and set it in a container over an ice bath, and I'm going to plop the ingredients in the squeeze bottle into the olive oil. And this is what makes it look like caviar. Strain it from the oil and voila, you're finished. It's fabulous and it's fun to do. Enjoy.
Next time on Bringing It Home, tune in and watch me and the master of Mediterranean, Chef Jason Collis, as we cook it up nice and fresh in not only a beautiful lemon grove, but one that smells great too. It's so fresh.
It is.
We'll learn how lemons are grown and harvested. I should be a lemon farmer. I even have a tip or two on how to use lemons around your house. Lexus is proud to support Bringing It Home's message of sustainability and freshness. We encourage you to know the people behind your food and to enjoy your pursuit of perfection.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. I'm Laura McIntosh and I almost fell through the door. There was a big bee and I figured...
She had a bee in her bonnet.
had a bee in my bonnet.
Perfected?
Yeah, we're gonna take that from the top because I did the same thing. Unique New York.
Yeah. Who ate the tomato and burrata?
Looking for simple ways to keep it fresh at home? I've made it easy with my new cookbook, Laura McIntosh from the Field. You will discover delicious recipes selected from some of the world's finest chefs. You can also order DVDs of the show you've just seen, just for you, nice and fresh.